Michael.
Hey,
What you got there, Michael?
oh, um, I'm just been concerned about medication lately.
Mm.
It's
Yeah, I have some problems with some medication because my hands are
mm-hmm.
not they're not long enough anymore
Yes,
for me to
yeah.
be able to read the label the letters on the labels.
Well, and that's important to read the labels. I'm concerned about all the side effects that comes with these
Oh,
different medications.
side effects are an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I I've been kind of. Can you tell me if do you know if I put Viagra in my ear, will it make me hard of hearing? Because I'm kind of.
It's the Speaking Nerdy podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
And my good friend and compadre, Mr. Ricky Poe.
Hey nerds, this is David with Tatooine Sons, a pop culture podcast. We believe that pop culture is the mythology of our generation. There is a story, it is written on our souls, and that all of these myths speak to that story. And that is why every Tuesday I talk about Star Wars and Marvel and DC and Lord of the Rings and whatever nerdy things we can think of with my two sons, Sam and Nate. It is a 30 to 45 minute celebration of all the weirdness that we love so much. Basically, Mom said we couldn't talk about it at the kitchen table anymore, so we decided to start a podcast. We hope you'll check it out. It's on every podcast app out there. Tatooine Sons. That's Tatooine SONS.
Because
Hard of hearing. Oh my gosh.
I guess I'll have to find out. So, tonight, folks, you're going to get a special program. We're just going to
on a very special Speaking Nerdy podcast.
That's right. Going back to our roots. That's right. Where we talk about everything without any real focus or anything that's really pertinent. No, we're going to go through a lot of nerdy news.
It's the something. What was it? What was our old podcast? It was the
something about something.
It was the something about something. No, that was the second name, wasn't it? Something about nothing.
Oh, something about nothing. Then we
evolved. Something about nothing podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
Yeah, and then we evolved back to roots. Something about nothing. It didn't catch. That's the problem. You couldn't do a search and find us. So we thought,
something about nothing.
Why don't we change nothing about something? And then we found out something about something also didn't catch very well. So we did an entire season of that. And then we went from what should we do next? And now we're speaking nerdy,
which is findable.
Yeah, it is findable. So that's nice. That's something we win. I mean,
and a few select episodes have been found well.
Exactly.
Most not.
Most not. But we try.
Well,
I mean, we try. It's okay.
It's the way we roll.
Which way we roll. So we got a lot of, basically this is an extended nerdy news. We usually do a nerdy news segment, and but this whole show is going to be talking about nerdy news. So normally do the nerdy news, then we do stupid news, and then we talk about the main topic. Tonight we don't have a main topic, so I think tonight we're going to do first stupid news.
It's the weird and stupid news with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
Oh, this is where I start. Silence is bad on podcasts. So
I was wondering what was going on. I was like,
I don't know.
Did I do something wrong?
I wanted to do that silent, awkward moment, and I was trying to do that. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. How did a man crash a Toyota Corolla into a second floor of a Pennsylvania home?
Oh, I don't know. How did a man crash a Toyota Corolla into the second floor of a home?
Well, It's a question that firefighters were asking themselves on Sunday when they responded to
Oh
a
my
one.
gosh. Oh.
Yes. 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 It's a question that firefighters were asking themselves on Sunday when they responded to a one-car crash at a home in Lewiston, Pennsylvania, and found a 2006 gray sedan jutting out of a second-story window and stuck on a roof.
How? What? Yeah. I have so many questions.
I do too. The good news, one of the homeowners was, one of the homeowners was at the house at the time of the crash, but was downstairs. Now, can you imagine being downstairs? I mean, can you imagine?
Wow, that would
Now,
be shocking.
now this is the part that is weird to me, and it says they said the charges are pending against the driver after state police determined that the crash was not accidental.
Not. Wait, is this one of those? There was one of those trucks with a ramp next to it, on it. Like
No,
you just can't
yeah,
not go up the
just like
ramp.
the memes, yeah,
Yeah,
all
like the
Dukes of
memes.
Hazzard, kind of like.
Yeah.
And before they
How do
jump,
you?
there's like this little narration of the guy. Well, the Duke boys, they're doing it again. So I don't know.
Do you think they'll make it?
You think you can make it? Wow. So yeah, I don't know. And they said that they said as authorities investigate how the car got to the house second floor, the only thing they can determine, at least the fire department believes, that the driver hit a ditch or a tunnel carrying a stream next to the house that caused it to go airborne, but they don't know. They're still
So
investigating why.
there's not like an overpass
No,
nearby. There's
no,
not like
no.
an
I mean,
elevated area.
apparently, and I was reading this is not the first time that Corollas actually have gone airborne before. So I don't know. I'm not for sure. I don't have any more, studies or, data or facts on this, but yes. So watch out for
How
those Corollas out there, especially the ones.
apparently
Yeah, especially those 2006 one. I guess they
I'm glad
has some
well,
air.
at least it's not a Yaris. My daughter drives a Yaris, so
Yes. Well, that's a good thing. Oh man. You ever get those? You ever get like those texts and you're trying to figure out what it means? Well, anyway, um,
what you mean
I mean,
like when there's just
yeah, when you're
a bunch of
texting,
letters
a
and they're
bunch of
supposed to
stuff,
mean
or
something
someone texts you
because I'm
something, I'm
old?
going, what are they talking about? Well, and sometimes, we misunderstand what's on the text. Well, a misunderstanding over a text message led to a police assault during a 911 response, according to a federal several. I'm going to say this again. A misunderstanding over a text message led to a police assault during a 911 response, according to a federal civil rights lawsuit.
Okay.
The lawsuit says that a woman was awaiting surgery and struggled with walking and climbing stairs. The woman who filed the lawsuit was texting a friend about her health issues. Now, the
Okay.
friend received a text during the conversation texting, I think I just shot myself in the lawsuit. Well, it was,
Okay.
autocorrect strikes again, because what the text meant to say was, I think I just bleeped myself without saying it. So we don't get, I think the folks out there can figure out the
Pretty
Wheel
sure
of
I know what
Fortune. Yeah, I
text
mean,
said. Yeah.
yes, I
Yeah.
think if you played Wheel of Fortune enough, you know exactly which vowels and consonants that makes. Yes, that's right. The alarm friend dialed 911 and police responded to the woman's home. That's right. Uh,
Oh.
exactly. The woman's allegedly told the police through a speaker on the Ring doorbell that she didn't need help and that the call resulted from a misunderstood text. But the police insisted. Uh,
Yeah, once the
insist,
police are
yeah,
called,
I mean,
they have to go in and check it out.
yeah, the
There's
police, yeah,
unfortunately, that's a thing. They won't not check it out.
exactly. So the police insisted on seeing her, but she said that it was difficult for her to reach the door and ask the police to leave, the lawsuit said. So, the police, I mean, come on. But anyway, this is the other part. The police put a sticker over the camera on the doorbell, the lawsuit says. After
Oh,
2 hours, the woman cracked open the door to see whether the police was there or not. Then the police dragged her outside and put her in restraints. I don't.
okay. That seems a
Okay,
little weird.
that seems weird. Now, this is from the lawsuit, okay? Now, that's from the lawsuit. So I don't know what side of the story we're talking about here, mainly from the woman in the lawsuit
Yeah.
that she's filing. So,
Right.
keep
Right.
that in mind. Police found her legally owned gun in the home. And after staying with her for 2 hours, the police took her to the hospital. The lawsuit says that she was held for 11 hours until she was released without restrictions. Now, the lawsuit says police illegally detained her for 13 hours and she suffered pain and continued to suffer psychological distress. That's kind of what they're trying to go after here.
Okay.
The woman's attorney says it's likely the police version of the events will differ, concerned that they'll be negligent if they left the home and the woman harmed herself. Now, ultimately,
Yes.
ultimately, it's going to come down to what the jury determines.
Yeah.
And so, but
This
what should
one,
we, but
this
what
was
should
one of
we,
those. I'm not really sure what,
yeah,
like,
there's too many holes in it. So you can't
yeah,
really take one side. It's awfully anyway, but
yeah.
what
If
should,
she had really shot herself, and she said she didn't, and they left, and then she died,
yes,
then they would get sued.
because I'm
If
sure
they
they dealt with stranger
stayed,
things. Yeah.
yeah, if they stayed and caused, overreacted, they'll get sued. So I
Yeah.
don't know there was a win situation here,
I don't
except
think
for her
so.
to just come to the door and not wait 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I understand in there it talked about how she, she was going to have a hip replacement and she couldn't get around easy and stuff like that. But I eventually, I mean, I don't know. I mean, say go away, and stay for 2 hours and wait for the cops to go away. Something that's kind of strange. But anyway, really what it comes down to, and this is the question, and folks out there, what should we take away from all of this? Turn off autocorrect. And
Yes.
that's the stupid news.
This has been the Weird and Stupid News with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
So if I ever tell you, hey, I think I just took a bleep, that means
I should assume you've shot yourself.
yeah, just took a anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't
That's weird.
that's part of the weird and stupid news.
That is the weird and stupid
Sometimes
news.
it's hard to know what weird and what is stupid, and sometimes it's on that line. It just
Yeah.
on that line.
Yeah, that one's kind of somewhere in between. So, you want to start with box office news just to get that out of the way?
And let's not say get out of the way. It's glorious information. Come on, man. Let's oversell this thing. Let's not undersell it. Oh, they're going to talk about box.
So
Go ahead.
tonight we are going to do just kind of a lot of nerdy news and a whole bunch of subjects, and it's going to kind of be rapid fire. So, the only reason I say get it out of the way is because it's the same news that I have been reporting for. This is the 4th week in a row.
Oh my goodness.
For the 4th week in a row. I sound like a broken record.
Yeah.
For the 4th week in a row, Barbie and Oppenheimer take first and second place.
Oh my.
Barbie has now crossed the $1 billion mark, and the Oppenheimer is, if it hasn't, I think it probably has now. If it hadn't by the last weekend, it probably has now crossed over the $500 million mark.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's super, super phenomenal
It is
movie
it
wise.
isn't that something?
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
it surpassed The Dark Knight, and it's like the highest grossing domestic release in Warner Brothers history.
yeah,
That's saying something.
yes.
That is
Isn't
saying
that
something. And on
crazy?
top of that, um, you know, Margaret Robbie, she is going to earn at least 50 million in salary and box office bonuses. Can you imagine that?
Wow, that's
Yeah.
pretty impressive. So, I had kind of po- posed the question a while back. Do we think this is the resurgence of the of the theater? You know, is this does this mean that the theater is back?
I don't
And
know.
I
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I actually crunched some numbers.
Yeah,
And by crunch some numbers, I mean I looked them up online.
it's
Um
good. That's what I
uh
do.
so but it does look like this will be the best well, it already pretty much already is. This will be the best box office year post pandemic.
Yeah,
Okay. We haven't
yeah,
had a lot of box office years,
not
but
really.
year over year it has gone up, you know. But this will be, I mean, if numbers stay similar the rest of the year to
Yeah,
what they have so far, we're going to be really close to like 2017, 2018, twenty
yeah.
nineteen numbers for the year.
Well, let's think about it. What movies? Because there's been a lot of flops. So which movies can we think of? Of course, Barbie, Oppenheimer, which
Yeah.
you know, and
We
can we
had
think
the
of?
Mario movie killed,
Yes. So that there you go. That
and the Spider-Verse movie was a super
yes,
hit.
yeah.
I don't know that it was as good as I don't remember. Did it do as good as the first Spider-Verse
I
movie?
don't think so,
Not
but it
quite,
still, but
but
it did,
close.
it did well,
Within
very well.
reason. Within
Yeah,
reason. Um, I mean, yeah, those are kind of the big ones, and I don't know
and
that anything else really comes close, but those along with okay returns from all the other movies.
yeah. Well, it's
We're
yeah,
having a decent year at the theater, and there was like 2 years ago we were talking about are theaters even going to survive?
yeah. Well, I think for me, it's like I understand Mario, Spider Verse. It's an animation. Keep that in mind. So
Yeah,
that's a big deal because, as far as animation with Marvel, never really you don't see too much of that in the theaters, and
right.
mainly it used to be on DVD or streaming service or something like that. So
Hmm.
if you think about it, some of these movies that's out, it's not something that you and me and most people think as big blockbuster. We would
Hmm.
think would be a big blockbuster, you know, but
Like
the big
Mission
block,
Impossible.
yes, and Indiana Jones, and the thing with,
Mhm.
yeah, exactly. So, and the big names that we think that would gross a lot of money have done the opposite.
Yeah.
And that's so it's so much is theaters coming back, or is the mindset of the audience, or is the taste changing? I mean, you have, you basically, Indiana Jones, the Dial of Destiny, and
Hmm.
the Paramount Mission Impossible, they, they're on track for about 100 million each, which not
Hmm.
great. Okay.
Right.
Indiana Jones 5 gross, like, from the reports that I'm reading from IGN so far, it's 375 million, 6 weeks after its release.
Which is
And that,
probably, and that's worldwide, right?
yes.
Yeah, domestic is like half that.
Yeah.
So
So I'm, yeah,
so
these are
we're
the,
we're talking about a movie that, because box office, the the studios really only get about half the box office. That movie still hasn't paid for itself yet.
yeah. Well, and it's like Mission Impossible 7 it raked in about 523 millions in 5 weeks. So 523 million in
So
5 weeks.
that's actually pretty decent.
Yeah. Um, Now they're saying sources familiar with both films' finances told Variety that they each cost roughly about $300 million to make, with
Mhm.
about a $1 million to spend on marketing, making them the most expensive production at their respective studios. And so, yeah, so that's that's and it's I don't know, I'm kind of taken back because these are two big stars
Mhm.
and two big movies, Indiana Jones and
Mhm.
Mission Impossible. And so that's why I come back is the taste of is the are the consumers changing their taste? Are they wanting something more fresh? Is it
This is
something that
this is back to the now these aren't a perfect fit for this comment, but this
yeah,
is back to the um is there superhero uh what's the
fatigue?
yeah, is there superhero
Yeah.
fatigue? Is there Marvel fatigue? Everybody's saying, is there Marvel fatigue? There's too many superhero
Yeah.
movies. Is there superhero fatigue? But the superhero movies are doing similar
Yeah,
to
exactly.
the non-superhero movies if you consider Indiana Jones a non-superhero movie,
Yeah.
if you consider Mission Impossible a non-superhero movie,
Yeah.
but they are kind of in that same
Kind of an
superhero
action. Yeah.
vein.
Yeah.
They're in that action adventure vein.
Yeah.
But then we have Barbie that is comedy part musical part women
Yeah.
empowerment part. I don't even
Yeah.
know what that pink mess is
Yeah,
that
exactly.
explodes. Then you have Oppenheimer, which is biopic, weird,
Yeah,
sciency,
exactly.
super orangey ball of wibbly wobbly stuff
Yeah,
that
exactly.
explodes.
On the
And
same
then
weekend
on
with
the same
Barbie.
weekend, and then we have, to kind of throw back to the beginning of the year, then
Yeah,
we have the first really super successful video game franchise movie,
which
Mario
is
Brothers.
was never yes. And as we know, and I'm going to show this real quick. This kind of goes in with that. For instance, 1993 Super Mario Brothers movie is coming back to theaters in 4K.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, that's from Crunchyroll, and also I've
Oh
seen
my
that from
gosh.
IGN. So anyway,
Is that going to be
so
a wide
speaking
release or is that going to be like a one day
I don't
only
know.
Fathom
I
event
saw
kind of
that
thing?
and I thought that was pretty odd. In 4K. Really? Why would you have that
That's
movie in
funny.
4K? You see the strings and all the other stuff there. I mean, you could see it before anyhow, but yeah,
Well,
so there you go.
so my
I
big
mean,
question is, the Barbie and Oppenheimer definitely blew up the
yes.
theaters. But since then, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles didn't do great.
No.
It did okay, I
Yeah, I
guess.
mean,
See, so this is where it's weird. What people consider a success isn't necessarily making money yet.
yeah, exactly.
Um, because if a movie breaks even, it's considered a success.
Mhm.
But what they say break even is box office meets the studio spend. But
Yes,
that's
I
actually
see.
not making money. But
That's
the
true.
assumption is with DVD sales and VOD
Mhm.
sales or whatever, Blu-ray or whatever, future sales, syndication sales, with everything else involved, eventually they'll make their money back. That's
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
that's
That's
kind of how
yeah.
so if box office matches what we spent to make the money,
Yeah.
we know eventually we'll make our money back.
Yeah.
But if box office doesn't meet that, then probably we're not ever going to make our money
Yeah.
back, and it's a flop. So that's a weird kind of super in the weeds kind of thing.
Yeah.
But what I'm curious about is the theater side.
Yeah.
Um, is this saying that it's not that the people are willing to go to the theaters
Yeah.
but we have to give them something worth going to see.
I yeah. I believe
And
you're right.
along with that, I do have Zachary Levi. You and I talked about this a little bit beforehand.
Yeah.
Zachary Levi has gotten in trouble on Twitter lately for a
I've read it.
few random things he's said.
Yeah.
Or not Twitter. Well, okay, some of it was on Twitter. Some of it was while he was at conventions.
Mm-hmm.
So because he made a comment about he was at a convention, I think in Europe,
Yeah.
comic convention, and he everybody says he says the strike is dumb, but that's not actually what he said.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not allowed to talk about, oh, this is dumb. I'm not
Yeah.
allowed to talk about anything I've done creatively. So his comment isn't that the strike is dumb. His comment
No.
is that the restrictions put on me to not talk about anything I've ever done before in the film
Yeah.
industry is dumb, which I kind of get that because
Yeah.
he definitely lays it out that I'm here for the fans,
Yeah.
not to
Exactly.
promote stuff that I did in the
Yeah.
past. I'm here because the fans want to see me, which I buy into that. And I
I
think
do
that's
too.
now if the studio said we want you to promote something
Yeah.
and you're on a strike, I would
Yeah.
say,
Of course
okay,
not.
yeah, that's legitimate. Don't do that.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But if Zachary Levi wants to talk about a movie he made 3 years ago,
Yeah, I
is
mean, it has
how
no.
that's not really promotional. Nobody is going to go, oh, I must go see this movie that he has made 5 years ago because I saw
Yeah,
him just now on
exactly.
stage. It's not really promotional anymore. So
No.
so that's kind of one of those things. But he went on more recently and he said, I personally feel like the amount of content that comes out of Hollywood that is garbage, they don't care enough to actually make it great for you guys. Oh,
Oh, that's pretty big.
yeah, they don't. How many times do you watch a trailer and go, oh my God, this looks so cool? Then you go to the movie and it's like, this is what I got. They know that once you've already bought the ticket and you're in the seat, they've got your money. And the
Yeah.
only way for us to change any of it is to not go to the garbage. We have to actively not choose the garbage. It'll help. It'll help a lot.
I mean,
So
that's pretty
basically,
strong. That's pretty strong
Zachary
words.
Levi is calling out the whole industry, saying, "Quit making hot garbage and
Yeah.
go make some real good movies." So here's my question: what movies in upcoming for the rest of this year? Because my big thing is the theaters. I want to know: are the theaters going to come out at the end of the year and say, "We're back. We had a good year. It wasn't as good as 2019 pre-pandemic,
Hmm.
but we had a good year and we're not worried about having to shut the doors." So I'm curious what kind of movies people are actually going to be excited about. We have a few quote unquote big blockbuster movies that are supposed to still come out later this
Hmm.
year. Some of them are really in our nerdy niche and some are not.
Yeah.
One movie I'm super interested in is called Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that is
Yeah.
partly because it was shot here in Oklahoma. I'm interested
Yeah.
in it. And it's a story that involves Oklahoma. But then there's a new Saw movie. So if you're a horror fan, that's something that's supposed to be coming out.
Yeah.
Um, we've got the second part of Dune,
Yes.
which could be a big blockbuster. I mean, it's got the potential to do something like Oppenheimer, or it could crash and burn like Dial of Destiny. Um, let's see, what else do we have? We've got the Marvels, which I don't think is going to kill at the theaters.
I don't think it's going to kill. Not saying it's not going to be good, but I'm just saying.
I'm not saying movie might be
No.
great, but I don't think it's going to be the a $500,000 blockbuster.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
think so.
I think it's probably going to fall into that Dial of Destiny, that lower tier. It'll make a couple hundred,
Kind of the Ant-Man quantum,
yeah,
kind of thing. It's
it'll make 150. It'll make 200,000 million. It'll do okay. Um, Hunger Games, which was huge back in the day,
yes.
we have
Yeah.
a new Hunger Games movie coming out. It's a prequel.
Yeah.
That one's a little questionable in my
I'm
brain as to
iffy.
whether it's going to do well or not, just
Yeah.
because um, some some people really love the book and some people really
Yeah.
hate the book, and some people don't like it because we kind of get a basically we see the backstory of the villain from the first movie, from the
Okay.
other movies,
Yeah.
and he's kind of the good guy in the movie, but eventually he becomes the bad guy.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how that one's going to play out. Um, uh, let's see, what else do we have? Um, Wonka, which looks really good,
Yeah.
kind of weird, which is kind of a prequel for Willy Wonka.
Mhm.
That one has the potential of being really good, but I don't know if it will. Um, then we have Aquaman,
Hmm.
and probably more important. I say more important meaning because this is going to determine whether or not Barbie is a fluke, or this is the way, there just
Yeah.
hasn't been anything good out.
Yeah.
But this weekend, DC's Blue Beetle launches. Do
Yes.
you think Blue Beetle has a shot at finally knocking Barbie off of its pedestal?
Man, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not a usually there was a time I would probably say yes, but we live in some really weird times when it comes to entertainment, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't I wouldn't bet on it.
I,
It could.
I think it will.
Think
I think
so?
it will. I think there's a slim chance, just because of diminishing returns.
Okay.
Barbie has done so well so far, but
Yeah.
every week over week it goes down.
Yeah.
But this weekend Barbie kind of hit that number where
Kind of
if
peaked.
Barbie, yeah, like Dial of Destiny, I think would have beaten Barbie if Dial of Destiny had come out this past weekend.
Well, okay. I
You
got what
see
you're
what I'm
saying.
saying?
Yeah, I see
Yeah.
what you're saying.
So we're getting to the point where I don't know that Barbie can hold on to the number one spot,
Yeah.
simply because it's after week it's been going
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. Well, that
So we're
makes sense.
getting to the point where all the people who want to see it have seen it. All the
Yeah.
people who want to see it multiple times have seen it multiple
Yeah,
times.
exactly.
We're getting to the point where and this is another kind of another offshoot of that story. Um, Warner Brothers announced on Twitter that the date that it's going to video on demand,
Mhm.
and it will only have been in theaters for 6 weeks. Six weeks.
Yeah.
And a lot of Twitter people, they're exes now. I don't know,
I yeah.
whatever they're called. A lot of people are like, "Why are you taking it out of theaters so fast?" Well, they're technically not necessarily taking it out of
Yeah.
theaters. That's up to the theater. But you will be able to see it at home, 6 weeks after, which is pretty fast.
Yeah.
And we had those conversations during the
Mhm.
big part of the pandemic.
Yeah.
How long do you leave it in theaters?
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
contracts are written 45. Some people are like 45 days. That's it.
Yeah.
90 days. That's it.
Yeah.
6 weeks seems a little short. But maybe it's one of those, it's just time.
Mhm.
We've held the box office for
Yeah, I
4
mean,
weeks in a row. What's the point of waiting at this now?
well, it seems like, there was a time, you remember that it took forever for something to go out on DVD or Blu-ray. And now
Well,
it's almost
I
like,
remember the
yeah.
70s. I remember the 70s where, Star Wars came out in 77. And then in 78, it came back to theaters. because
Mm-hmm.
there was no other way to watch it.
No, exactly.
So movies used to come back to
Back.
theaters
Yeah,
on a regular
exactly.
basis.
Uh-huh.
That was just how you did things back then.
Exactly.
So yeah, this is I think probably Barbie is I'm not saying it's on its last legs in that I feel like I think it's run its course.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see a huge resurgence of people going to see Barbie again. I think Blue Beetle will take the top spot, but I don't expect Blue Beetle to be like $150 million first opening weekend.
Yeah. The question I have, and we talked about how some movies that in the box office, let's say, like you said, they break even, that
Mm-hmm.
break even number, and
Yeah.
then after that they make their money from syndication
Yep.
to releases, this, that, and the other
Yep.
thing.
Selling it to
So
streaming services.
yes, now that's my question. There was a time where we had Blockbuster.
Yeah.
And we had a time where movies would go to a medium and people would buy the medium because, like
Mm-hmm.
DVDs and Blu-rays.
Yep.
And my thought is, have we, compared to now where they may come out and do something on Blu-ray or DVD, but probably very minimum. But,
Mm-hmm.
Now things go to streaming services. So has this, you know, has this lost revenue by not having these anymore? That's an
interesting question. And to pile on to that, are they going to lose revenue? In the past, somebody like Warner Brothers, per se, okay, DVD, Blu-ray, video on demand, rentals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Like if you've got cable, you can, video on demand a lot of films. But then eventually it goes to streaming services that you pay a subscription to.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in the past, a company like Warner Brothers would take a movie like Barbie and get a big fat check from Netflix.
Yeah.
Now they get little tiny checks from you and me.
Exactly.
On a regular.
Yeah.
And Barbie's just going to go there.
Yeah.
There's no big fat check from Netflix anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know how all that plays. Like, are those little tiny checks from you and me over the course of time a better deal for Warner Brothers than big fat checks on an annual basis from a third party like Warner, like Netflix?
Well, like DVD and Blu-rays, especially something like Barbie, they would have this marketing and they throw a doll with it and they do the packaging and they would make a big deal and it'd be a big Christmas thing where people want it for Christmas. No. That's just not, that we're past that medium state anymore.
I forgot to do this, but I should have done it. Do you know much about the Barbie movie?
I only from what I've read.
Trailers.
Yeah, I watched the trailer and just from what I
know about Weird Barbie.
Yes.
So Mattel
that has
Mattel in all of its genius marketing has decided to bring out Weird Barbie as a toy.
Wow.
It is going to be a made to order product, meaning they're going to take orders and then they will make exactly that many. It will be mass produced, but it'll be mass produced based on the number of orders versus blowing it out big time and shipping it to Walmart and you buying it there.
Yeah,
but now you will be able to buy Weird Barbie from the movie.
Weird Barbie. That is Weird Barbie. Okay, folks, I've gotta Google that, folks. Let me
the Weird Barbie toy.
Yeah, because I want to make sure it's what I'm thinking. So, okay. Cyndi Lauper,
magic marker.
Is that what that is?
On her
it's
face.
Like Cyndi Lauper to me. That's what it looks like. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Well, how about that one, the Ken that doesn't look like was
like any
it's not
Ken you've ever
like
seen.
any can you ever seen. But anyway, yeah, okay, that's Weird Barbie. Okay, just want to make sure it's what I was thinking. Interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's the thing. So that's something. But the theater, but Warner Brothers doesn't really get a cut of that. I don't think. I mean,
I don't.
maybe they get a cut because they created a character called Weird Barbie, so Mattel
Guess they.
can't
Yeah.
make it without getting Warner Brothers to sign off. You know,
Yeah.
there's money flipping back and forth somewhere there.
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, so I'm not sure exactly how all that works, but that'll be another revenue stream.
That will be. Yeah. Hey, have you pre-ordered your new Look Out for the Little Guy? It's out on
Oh my
Amazon now
gosh, I
by Scott
heard about
Scott
this.
Lang. Yes.
It's a real book.
It's a real book. That's pretty clever.
It
It's
is.
yeah, it'd be almost yeah. So
I thought that was funny. I did.
I thought so too.
I thought it was funny in the movie. I thought, okay,
Yeah.
that's funny. Then the fact that Marvel is actually going to publish, or Disney, I guess, is actually going to publish a book called "Look Out for the Little Guy" by Scott Lang.
And yeah, and Paul Rudd is like really into this. He's actually promoting it as Scott
Oh,
Lang. And so yeah, so he's
oh my
doing book
gosh!
readings and stuff as Scott Lang. So that
Speaking of Paul Rudd, this is another offshoot of.
yeah.
By the way, welcome to the Something About Something
Yes,
podcast,
this is really
because
yes.
this is how this show
This is
started.
how the show yeah.
One
It's
of us
starting
would
to a
say something.
reminiscence. Yeah,
One
I
of us
thought,
would
man, am I
say
having a
something,
stroke?
and someone else would just go off on a rabbit trail because it
Yeah,
made us
this is
thinking
it.
something. So I have been watching Only Murders in the Building. Season 3 just started.
Oh yeah.
Guess who? One of the big
Yes,
actors
yes,
is
yes,
Paul
yes,
Rudd. Paul Rudd is
yes.
one of the big actors for the new season. In
Oh
fact,
yes.
it's pretty much, if you watch season 2, you know the very end. Paul Rudd is the dead guy.
Yes. Oh,
That's not
that's
really a spoiler because that was at the end of season 2.
yeah, I
Um,
mean, of course not. Yeah.
of course, I will say I didn't realize it was Paul Rudd when I watched it. I didn't realize that's who it was when he came out on stage and died in front of everybody. But he
So
does
you have
actually
so you
play a
get
real part.
well, that's kind of brilliant. Bring in like like on a Love Boat, you would have these, celebrities come on the Love Boat, and of course
Oh
on
yeah,
this show, celebrities come in to be
yeah,
dead, so you have the new dead celebrity of the week.
yeah. Well, I
So the
will.
season.
This one is a little different because Paul Rudd isn't playing Paul Rudd. He's an actor named Ben. So
Okay.
he's not, because if you're not familiar with Only Murders in the Building, in the first season, Sting is living in the
Yes. He's leaving
penthouse.
the building. Yes.
Yeah, he lives in the building. He lives in the penthouse. Then in the second season, Amy Schumer
Yes.
lives in the
She's
penthouse.
in the build in the yes.
In this season, Paul Rudd's character Ben lives in the penthouse.
Lives in the penthouse. Yes.
So we don't have an actual
Actor. Yes. I
celebrity
see.
this season,
Hmm.
which I'm a little disappointed. I was
Yeah,
wondering who it
because it's
would
kind
be.
of it would be kind of cool, It's the celebrity in the penthouse for the season, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
but they didn't do it this season. So anyway,
yeah.
sorry, that was my Paul Rudd
No, no,
side
no.
quest there.
Hey, there is a consolation prize for Harrison Ford
Oh
from
yes, I love
yes,
this.
and apparently Harrison Ford, he has a snake named after him. These
Wh-
scientists keep naming critters after. He said, "This is Harrison Ford saying these scientists keeps naming critters after me, but it always seems like the ones that are terrifying children. I don't understand. Spend my free time cross stitching and sing lullabies to my basil plants, so." They won't be at fear at night. But yes, do you have any more information on this?
Well, so it is. I'm gonna butcher this name, but it
Okay.
is the Tachymonioides
Yes.
Tachymonioides Harrison Fordy.
Harrison Fordy.
Yeah, Harrison Ford with an I on the end,
An
letter I.
I.
Yeah, Harrison 40. So that is the name of the snake, and
That's the thing.
this is one of those. This is a bit of a joke. Snakes. Why
Yeah.
does it have to be snakes?
Yes,
So
exactly.
they named it after Harrison Ford. Um, I thought it was freaking funny when I saw it,
I think that's pretty funny myself. I like
and
that.
I love his comment. They keep naming animals after me, and they're the
After
scary
me.
ones,
Exactly.
the ones terrifying children.
Exactly. Why? Why do they do that? Yeah. Oh, for
Oh,
your
let's see.
oh, go ahead. What you got out there?
He also there's a spider named after. There's an ant named
There's
after
an
him.
ant name after him too.
Uh,
So this is not just a
spi-
one-time deal.
no,
This is just they love naming insects after
yeah,
him.
there's an ant named after him called a Fedol Harrison 40, and then there's a spider called the Calponia Harrison 40.
Hmm.
So I guess
Okay.
Harrison 40 is the part that I keep
Is the
using.
part that yes.
Um, but that's pretty funny.
That's
So there's an ant and a spider named after Harrison Ford.
well, that's a yeah, I mean you have to there's a whole new study, isn't it? I mean, it's a whole new scientific study of insects, the Harrison Ford insects. So yeah. Yeah. That's,
Go ahead.
oh no, I was just saying just real quick for you gaming fans, Starfield preload begins
Yes, I
August
saw
the
that.
17th on Xbox and Windows, August the 30th for Steam, and of course it comes out actually September the 6th. So these are
This is the
preloads.
game we looked at several weeks
Yeah.
ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
this looked really good.
Looks really good. So there you go on that. Also, in video game news, I just wanted to throw this in there. You could be a lucky winner of the world's first pizza scented Xbox controllers. There's a
Pizza scented.
yes. So there's a sweepstake for these. You can, I think, on IGN. So yeah, there you go. That's
Oh my
that.
goodness.
Yeah, I think that's kind of that's something. So yeah. So um, any other things before? Because I want to
Well,
cut you off. We're trying to take
oh
turns here,
no.
folks. I mean,
No, that's all
whatever
right.
you find here. Because
Well,
well, let's
I do have
go
something
ahead.
I wanted to bring up. I mentioned Blue Beetle earlier,
Yes, you
and
did.
a lot of people may not be super familiar with this DC character. But James Gunn had made the comment that this is the best superhero movie he'd ever seen. Of course, he said that right after he got the job.
Yes, true.
So
Yeah.
take that with a grain of salt.
Mhm.
However, critic reviews now, right now on Rotten Tomatoes, there's only 75 critic reviews,
Yeah.
but these are pre-release reviews. Um, it's got 82% on Rotten Tomatoes,
Okay.
which is pretty good.
That's respectable.
Uh,
Yeah.
well, it's considerably better than The Flash at
Well,
64,
I mean, that's
and
yeah.
Shazam: Fury of the Gods at 49, and Black Adam at 39, and the Suicide Squad is the only recent Warner Brothers, the only recent Disney, or the only recent DC movie
See, yeah.
that has beat it, because the Suicide Squad had a 90%. But
Yeah.
Zack Snyder's Justice League, the 4-hour version, was lower
Hmm.
than that. Wonder Woman 84 was lower than that. Birds of Prey, the Harley Quinn movie, was lower than that.
Hmm.
Before that, Shazam,
Okay.
the first Shazam movie, beat it. So that's a really high rating based on recent.
Yeah.
There's only like Shazam and the first Wonder Woman movie, the first Shazam movie, the first Wonder Woman movie, and the Suicide Squad are the only DC films in recent history that have, the DCEU kind of
Yeah.
films that have had a higher rating than Blue Beetle
Gotcha.
has so far.
Hmm.
Now, that's only 75 critics. Once we hit like 150 critics, it could go down some. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, it comes out what this Friday?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Speaking of DC, Um, so I don't have my information. So speaking of James Gunn, James
Yeah.
Gunn has been doing a lot of tweeting lately because that's James Gunn's thing.
Yeah. He's
And he's been tweeting a lot about Blue Beetle and, the DCEU.
hmm
Recently, he tweeted about um, The Man Who Laughs, which, are you familiar with that? It's a 1928 film. And James Gunn specifically brings up Conrad Veidt. He's the actor that played the character.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and he makes the comment that um, let's see, that the creators of the Joker used this character from this 1928 movie as kind of the basis
Yeah. This guy right
for,
here.
yeah, that guy
Yeah.
right there, for the Joker. So
That's
because of that, lots of people are now speculating that the bad guy for the Brave and the Bold movie will be Batman. Or will be
the
Joker.
Joker.
I don't know if that's accurate or not. I think it's kind of funny that James Gunn just offhand mentioned something and everybody just, all the lemmings go off the cliff.
Yeah, and he's clever enough. He knows that. He
Oh,
throws
I
it. I
know.
mean, he's
I mean,
not. Yeah.
is there a possibility? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Uh, does James Gunn need to come up with a Joker for his DC universe? Yes, he needs to come up
Yeah,
with a
he does.
Joker. Um, will it be in the Brave and the Bold, the first movie? I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh, that's one of those 50-50.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Batman 89. They went Joker right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
Um,
Dark Knight, they waited to
the
the
Dark
third.
Knight, yeah, they
Yeah.
waited.
No, the
Um,
second. The
the
second.
second,
Yeah.
yeah, they had
Yeah.
it the second movie. So it's one of those, do you build up to the Joker or do you just go for it? I don't know
I don't
which
know.
is the right
I don't
decision.
know. For DC right now, maybe they need to go with the big guns first. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean,
I don't.
Creature Commandos is going to kill.
There we go.
Why are
That
we doing Creature
I
Commandos
have
as the
no
first
idea. It's
DCU product? Uh,
uh
uh, do
maybe
you have anything else? I have one other thing. You got anything else?
Uh, one thing I do have something, and I do have Star Wars animated department is unaffected by the Lucasfilm layoffs. Apparently, there's a ton of layoffs at Lucasfilm, but
Oh, yes.
facility in Singapore where more than 300 people work has been spared. Their jobs, basically cinematography, lighting,
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. A lot of that stuff, a lot of people are being laid off. But if you're in the animation department, you are doing pretty well. So that kind of tells me that there's, like
Does
the
that
Bad
mean there's
Batch.
going to be a Bad Batch season 3?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean the studio actually. It's funny that you said that they are currently working on Bad Batch season 3. It's in the
Okay.
article.
There you
So
go.
there you go.
Well, there you go.
It's,
Well,
so apparently, yeah, and this is from Variety. So
I do kind of have a little bit of a spin-off on that.
well, you go right
Speaking of
ahead.
layoffs,
Yeah,
and or not layoffs in your case,
yeah,
the Marvel VFX workers have petitioned to unionize. So 50 employees have voted uh, for representation by the
interesting.
International Alliance of Theater Stage Employees. And if it happens, then that'll give them access to union health care and the union pension funds and a few other things, and it'll give them some work protections. VFX workers are always saying that the VFX studios are super overworked
Yeah,
because
they
of
are.
all the kind of films that are coming out right
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
and that they're working super long hours and they're not able to take time off, and they're understaffed and all that kind of stuff. So the fact that Marvel's group has now petitioned for union representation isn't super surprising.
Yeah,
But if they get representation, then they can strike, and we can have a halt on all of our films again. Oh wait, we're in the middle of
exactly.
one right now.
There we go. There we go. What was that one? What's the one what do they call it? It's the website that you buy things and they always joke about it. You know, you're getting the second rate stuff. I can't remember the name of it.
Wish.
Wish. It's kind of like if you want the, you know, the VFX version of Wish, you watch, you know, Flash. And so VFX, yeah. So
Yes.
anyway, yeah, that's came to my mind. So that's where they go there for the cheaper content.
Uh,
Yeah, whatever. So yeah, that's interesting. Also, too, you were talking about, and you mentioned this earlier before
oh
the
yeah,
Throne. Yeah,
Tron Ares has been delayed, but we
yeah,
kind of expected that. Kind of the big news thing is
yeah.
that the director basically tweeted out and complained. Um, I'm going to butcher his name. Uh, Joaquin Roning, maybe that's how you pronounce it.
Close enough. That sounds pretty good to
Sorry,
me.
Instagram. It was not Twitter. It was
Okay, yeah,
Instagram.
we don't. Yes, we
Um,
don't want to make an X mistake.
and he mostly was complaining that we were supposed to start shooting this week.
Yeah.
Um, he revealed that the production was supposed to begin filming, and instead he had to lay off 150 crew members.
Hmm.
And he gives a little bit of idea. He talks about the film is going to revolve around AI, which kind of has been a theme in the previous
Yeah.
two films anyway.
Yeah.
Um, but he
Mhm.
basically calls on the unions and the studios to get their act together, and you know get something set up so
Get
that
this
we can get
taken
back
care
to
of.
work. Yeah, let's see. Uh, he uh, he commented, "We close deals for breakfast. Why do we suddenly have all the time in the world when every day is so precious? These tactics are extremely frustrating."
Oh
So,
yeah, I mean,
I mean, he doesn't call out one or the other. He really
or the
calls
other,
out
he
both.
does it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
He
guess he
talks
doesn't.
about
I guess he doesn't fall on either category. I mean, technically, right? I mean, he
he's a
doesn't.
director. He doesn't.
So, so he doesn't
I
really
mean,
fall under needing to
some
strike on
directors
the.
are,
Yeah.
and I don't know his situation because
Yeah.
this is Disney. So some directors are under contract for the studio,
Yeah.
meaning they are a studio director and they may get handed a script and they have to go direct it.
Gotcha.
And then they stay with that studio, and then they get handed another script
I
and they
see.
direct it.
Yeah.
Some are independent, and I don't know what his specifics are, what his contracts, if that's just this movie or if he's actually on
Yeah.
contract with Disney.
Mm.
But he just he kind of added, let's see, it's time for diplomacy so we can get back to work under conditions that are fair to everybody.
That's.
So he and he puts like a line. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like I feel like this is something he wrote and then he goes, "Oh man, I better put this line in here so I don't get bashed."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly.
But
Oh
so
man.
directors are frustrated that they don't get to
I.
make their films,
Yeah.
and I totally get it.
Yeah. I
I've done
understand.
some
I mean,
directing.
it's.
I loved working with the actors. I loved working with the cinematographers. I loved working with the crews. Uh, you get to see something created,
Yeah.
and finally see what you tried to put together come to fruition. And now that you've spent, because you spent all this time prepping for it,
Oh yeah.
and then
Unlike
all of
here.
us,
Yeah.
yeah, unlike our show,
Yes.
spend tons and tons of time prepping for it, and then you don't get to do it.
Yeah. That's upsetting.
Yeah.
Speaking of upsetting, I've got some bad news.
Oh
I'm
no,
kind of
bad
upset
news.
about this. Yes, M&M's retire the mascots and place them
What?
with Mayor Rudolph. Yeah.
What?
That's
Is this real?
Maya Rudolph. Yeah, M&M retires the mascots, replace them with Maya Rudolph. It's the source is from M&M's and it is Twitter. So I don't, I hope I'm wrong. I hope this is fake news, but
I feel like they did this recently, like retired one of the M&M's
this has to
mascots,
be a
and then it
joke.
came right
And then
back.
came back. This
Is
could
this
be.
like is this like
I
Mr.
bet this is
Peanuts?
a setup. I bet it is. It's a setup because they have her and she's gonna, now I'm in charge and and then the M&M's people, characters are gonna come back and get after her and there'll be a struggle of power. I mean, it has to be. It just why we do away. I mean, they're M&M's
Maybe they went on
mascots
strike.
that they could have with the actors union. That's exactly.
Oh,
You see M&M's out there with little signs marching around.
M&M's unfair to Peanuts.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Oh, I wish I would have photoshopped something like that. That would have been awesome.
Oh my gosh. I need to look that up now. I want to look
You
up
need to look it up.
M&M
Yeah.
mascots
Yeah, you need
picket
to look it
lines.
up
I bet
because
it
maybe
exists.
it probably does. And it would make sense that they, hopefully it's a promotional thing where, they're going to have a fight between them and Maya
Oh, I'm
Rudolph.
sure.
So it has
I'm
to
sure they
be.
will.
Yeah, I have to be. Also, too, Disney is following suit with Netflix, Disney Plus, to crack down on password sharing starting in 2024.
Okay. Well, that
I
doesn't surprise me.
I know but on the flip side, look at this here. We also broadcast and cable falls below 50% of TV viewership for the first time.
Wow.
Yes, the Hollywood
Ooh,
Reporter. So that's coming from them. So
that's interesting.
yeah,
Not super surprised, but
I'm not either.
that's
I mean,
interesting.
yeah.
Do you think one day all of the streaming services will collapse and cable will have a huge resurgence?
At the stage that things are going, I was reading an article about is streaming services becoming more expensive than cable? And you think about it when you put
Oh yeah.
all these, yeah. So it'd be interesting. I mean, if I don't know, I think people have gotten so spoiled not having ads.
Yeah.
People will pay more for not having ads. They're providing these, the cost
Yeah.
of, and I'm a sucker.
And not having to wait for it to show up. I mean, that's the
Yeah,
thing with even with cable, you still have to wait for the show that you want to watch at a
yeah,
particular time. What did
yeah.
they used to call it? Not destination TV. Uh, oh, anyway, there was a word for it. There was a
Hmm.
term for it that was like, if this is the event. You
Yeah,
watch this show at this time on this channel every week because that's the only way you
yeah,
can watch it.
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, people are they like their streaming. They like watching when they want to watch and not watching when they don't want to watch.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, exactly.
I
So
don't see
I
it
don't
coming
know.
back,
I don't
not
either.
as was.
I
Um,
don't think.
Now I will say that speaking of pricing, I didn't have this in my notes, but I just remember this. I remember seeing it. So Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN, they've got the package deal.
They have the
Um,
package.
they're going up. All the individuals are going up.
Yeah, they are going up.
Um, it's still going to be cheaper to have the package,
Yeah, and that's
like
something approach.
significantly. Like as I recall, I think if you only have two, it costs more than if you have all three.
Yeah, yeah. So that may
Now,
be something I have to look at, even though
yeah,
I'm
if
not a
you're gonna have
proper
Disney
man.
Plus, yeah,
With ESPN.
if you're gonna watch them with no ads, if you're gonna pay for them with no ads, I think it's actually cheaper to have all three still, which is
Yeah,
fascinating to me. Whatever.
yeah,
There are super rumors and rumors There are
Mm-hmm.
rumors that, and there's been a little bit of rumor, and then there's this little extra rumor. The
Yeah.
big rumor is that Apple wants to buy Disney. That's the super rumor. I
Yeah.
don't see it happening.
I don't
Um,
either.
Now, the lesser rumor that I think could be a thing, Apple might be interested in buying ESPN from Disney. I
I
could
could,
see that happening.
I could see that happening.
Unless that's a really big revenue stream for Disney, and I just
Yeah.
don't know.
I don't know the numbers on
Now you
that.
talked about is it more expensive to have cable or to have all the streaming services?
Yeah.
So two things in my brain. Number one is, well, I had both.
Yeah.
I had cable and the streaming services. So not having cable saved me money.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, exactly. I
so
mean,
if I'm gonna have both, I'm gonna have to pay more. Um, the other thing is, there are some streaming services I probably would not subscribe to if
yeah.
I didn't already get them free because of something else I pay for.
Well, and then okay, well that makes sense. Yeah.
So I pay for Walmart Plus because to deliver my groceries,
Yes.
because it's cheaper than the delivery fees, and just with my life and the way I
Oh
live,
yeah.
having things
Yeah.
delivered to the house is a whole lot better for me,
Oh
especially
heck
the
yeah.
last few years.
Hmm.
So paying that fee every year, well, I get a streaming service because I pay for Walmart Plus.
Now what streaming service do they use? Is it their
I
own
think it's
kind of?
Paramount. It's not
Really?
theirs. Yeah. Yeah, it's either, was it Paramount? Let's see. There's Paramount, and I think it's Paramount.
Yeah, because
Um,
I didn't know that.
yeah. So
Because
that's the
that's not
thing.
something I would normally.
It's not something you would think of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
That's not
and I get Max. I get HBO Max for free, kind of for free,
because you.
because I have AT&T self service.
Okay. Gotcha.
So it's one of those. I'm gonna have a cell phone. This is a bonus.
Yeah. Exactly.
Would I
Exactly.
keep, if AT&T dropped that feature, would I go buy Max? I don't know.
I. It's really funny you say that. I'm trying to think of the content on there. I mean, they have stuff like Big Bang Theory. If you like Friends, you got there's of course there's all the DC stuff.
There's
Um,
definitely stuff I would watch,
content, but I
but
don't
would I
know.
cry if I didn't have it?
No, no.
It's kind of
Yeah,
like the
I
Paramount
wouldn't.
thing. Like, I mean, there's a lot of Star Trek stuff on there. There's a show my wife watches,
Yeah.
but if we didn't have it, I don't. If it didn't already come with our service, I
I
don't
mean,
know
if
that
I
I'd
was a,
subscribe to it.
I mean, if I was a hardcore Trekkie, definitely, that's the
Oh,
place to
absolutely,
go. Yeah, but I mean,
absolutely. I like
yeah,
the original series. I like the Next Generation. I kind of lost interest after
yeah, I understand. I understand. Same here.
that.
Same here.
So but the Disney stuff I'm going to pay for.
Well, that's the thing. I pay for it too, and and I watch a lot of Hulu, which is
Yeah,
I
I do.
never thought I would. It's funny that I never thought. I remember when Hulu first came out, it was like this little thing, but
Mm,
I watch a ton of Hulu, and of course, it's and a lot of your Disney stuff. Of course, they're owned by the same people, but
yeah,
I'm starting to see some of the Disney content come on to Hulu as well.
yeah.
So that's
Some of the
interesting.
stuff that doesn't fit really well with.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. But
Anyway,
yeah,
man, we chased some rabbits. Do we have anything else? I'm out.
no,
I'm done.
no. I
I
mean,
don't have anything else.
I had something, but I thought we might save it for next week.
Okay.
For because we're gonna next week is Ahsoka. Am I right?
Oh, is it Ahsoka? Is it?
Is
It
it?
may.
Let's Google. Let's find this out. Maybe it's if I'm not mistaken, but maybe not. Maybe not, folks. Let's. This is see Ahsoka.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Next
Yes.
week we have to watch the. Actually, there's 2
2
episodes,
episodes, 2
so we
hours.
have to watch 2 episodes of
I don't know.
Ahsoka, and then we'll talk about it Friday.
And and it comes out Wednesday, right?
Yeah, it comes out Wednesday. Are we going to have
And
time for that?
that's gonna we may
Or do
have
we
to
need to wait a week?
no, I mean we can, if we can do, like, it depends. I mean, we can do a when you talk about that. No, we can't wait a week. I mean, we can't wait a week.
Can't
We
be
need to
that far
do,
behind.
no, we can't do that. We have to be able to be there so that we can
Our
ruin some of it.
fans, yeah,
Yes, our
our fans
fans,
depend on us.
they do,
They
because they're
have
not
to
going.
know what we think. They
Yes,
don't know what they think.
no,
They have
they're
to know what we
sheep.
think.
Well, we just lost whatever we had. But they
Oh my
pound
gosh.
every word that we yeah. We're going to talk about some stuff next week.
They watch
Oh my
us to
goodness.
watch the train wreck that
I
we are.
know it. And I'll just mention this. I mentioned this. Hey, Sabine, Jedi, Force sensitive? Is she?
Ah,
Is she not? What's going on? That's confusing. Do I
don't
like it?
know.
Do
I
I
want to
not
know.
like it? I don't know. There's a lot of complaints out there. A lot of people out there going, what? So we'll
Yeah,
find out next week.
we'll see.
All right. Oh, we have all these great places you can find us. We have speakingnerdy.com. We have the YouTube /Speaking Nerdy, our YouTubes. And then, of course, we're on all these audio podcasts that still exist. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So I don't have anything else to say except thank you for watching and for listening. And download, like, subscribe. You know who you are. You know what you like to do. So that's all I have to say.
This has been the Speaking Nerdy podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
And my good friend and compadre, Mr. Ricky Poe. I think we just totally killed the rabbit. I think we just totally a little Elmer Fudd there. Don't get mad at me, Peter. But yeah, wow, boy, we just really
great show.
ran the rampant. Yeah, it was a good show. I mean, I don't know what we're going to call for a title, but hey, a hot mess.